Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Awesome. Today we're heading to France, to this incredible medieval masterpiece, Chartres Cathedral.
Sure.
We're using Mont-Saint-Michel and Chartres
Well,
by Henry Adams as our guide.
oh, Adams is great. He's got such a unique perspective on history.
Yeah, sometimes even a little quirky.
Definitely. But
Yeah.
that's part of the fun.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So for this deep dive, I want you to imagine you're not just a tourist with a camera. You're there at Chartres, uncovering all the secrets, the symbolism, and even the power dynamics that make this place so much more than just a pretty building.
It really is much more than that.
Okay, let's jump in. One of the first things that Adams emphasizes is that Chartres wasn't built for the people or even for the church, but for Mary. It was Mary's grand palace.
Yes. He uses that analogy to really drive home Mary's influence on every aspect of the cathedral's design, like a queen dictating the look and feel of her own residence. Her taste is reflected in every detail.
Like that massive rose window on the west front.
Precisely. Bathed in light and color, symbolizing Mary herself. A powerful statement right from the start.
But here's where things get interesting.
Okay.
When we get to the south porch, things shift a bit.
Yeah, the south porch, while stunning, is a little less focused on Mary's supremacy compared to other parts of the cathedral.
I see.
Adams suggests this reflects the man who commissioned it, Pierre Maclure. Powerful nobleman. Bit of a rebel.
A clash of queens, maybe.
Exactly. You gotta remember the political maneuvering going on. Pierre was married to the Duchess of Brittany, but also caught up in power struggles with the Queen of France, Blanche of Castile, so the south porch, becomes his statement, asserting his own authority within Mary's court, so to speak.
It's like those power dynamics playing out in stone and glass.
Exactly.
Oh, and speaking of stained glass, we can't forget those incredible transept windows. Breathtaking colors.
And those colors tell a story. The north transept windows with scenes from Charlemagne's life were funded by Blanche of Castile.
And Pierre countered with the south transept, showing the story of St. James, like they were trying to outdo each other.
Absolutely. Both sets of windows commissioned during a period of high tension between Blanche and Pierre. It's more than just art. You're seeing a visual representation of their power struggle, trying to win favor in the court of the Virgin Mary.
Like saying, hey, Mary, look what I did. Okay, now, those miracle stories that Adams talks about. Les miracles de Notre Dame. Tales about Mary intervening in human affairs.
Those were hugely popular back then. They give us a glimpse into how people viewed Mary. Not some distant deity, but an active force in their lives, someone they could turn to for help.
And some of them are pretty wild, like the one with the knight praying to Mary to win the love of a lady.
And she's like, nope, you're my lover now. Demands complete devotion from him. It's amusing. But it also shows how Mary expected complete dedication from her followers.
Wow, talk about blurring the lines between divine power and human drama.
For sure. Another good one is the Tumulus de Notre Dame, a minstrel who, according to Adams, couldn't sing or pray. So he offers his juggling skills as worship.
Wait, he juggled for Mary.
He did. It's a charming story. Really emphasizes how accessible Mary was, even to someone so humble.
Makes you wonder if she accepted his unique offering. What do you think?
I think it's more about genuine devotion, which could take many forms in her eyes.
Okay, let's shift gears. Adams also talks about the intellectual battles of the 12th century, that clash between reason and faith.
Yes, this is where we see figures like Peter Abelard, brilliant philosopher, use logic to explore religious ideas.
Right.
And Bernard of Clairvaux, powerful abbot, believed faith should always come before reason.
Head to head. And this actually influenced the rise of Gothic architecture, with Chartres as a prime example.
Think about it, those soaring heights, the light streaming through the stained glass. Chartres embodies Bernard's view that faith could achieve what reason could not.
It's like stepping into a world where faith takes form, defying logic and reason. And that's just the beginning of our exploration of Chartres. Back again, ready to uncover more secrets of Chartres Cathedral. I'm still blown away by how much history, art, and even drama is packed into this one building.
It is quite a treasure trove. And Adams points out that Chartres, especially in its early years, became a focal point for this almost fanatical devotion to Mary.
Like people were pouring their hearts, their souls, their fortunes even, into this grand project as a way to ensure their salvation, almost like an investment.
That's a great point. Adams actually uses that analogy of a financial investment. Like people saw contributing to Chartres as a way to I don't know, secure divine favor, a spiritual stock option.
And let's be real, Chartres wasn't built on a shoestring budget. Those stained glass windows alone must have cost a fortune.
Oh, absolutely. The scale of this project was immense. It required enormous resources and manpower. Adams highlights how everyone contributed, donations, labor, even hauling those massive stones for miles. A real communal effort.
I remember reading this incredible anecdote in Adams about how people would form associations to help with the construction. But it wasn't like just anyone could join. They had to confess their sins, reconcile with enemies, the whole 9 yards.
It really highlights the spiritual commitment people felt. It wasn't just about bits and mortar. It was about purifying oneself, seeking redemption through this grand act of devotion to Mary's palace.
High stakes. Okay, back to the building itself. Adams gets really excited about the architectural innovations at Chartres, particularly the flying buttresses. Why were those so important?
So the flying buttresses, they were key to achieving that signature Gothic look. Taller, thinner walls, massive windows filled with light. They essentially transfer the weight of the roof outwards, making those huge stained glass windows possible.
Well, they're not just pretty decorations, they're structural powerhouses.
Exactly. And Adams points out that Chartres really represents the culmination of years of experimentation with this technology. The flying buttresses there are not only functional, but incredibly elegant, contributing to the overall harmony of the building.
It's incredible what they accomplished back then, without modern tools and technology. Makes you appreciate their ingenuity.
A testament to their skill and understanding of structural principles. And you have to remember, they were working under immense pressure. They believed their work was glorifying the Queen of Heaven, after all.
Talk about pressure. Okay, we got to talk about those stained glass windows. So much more than just pretty pictures.
Oh, absolutely. They're like giant illuminated storybooks, depicting scenes from the Bible, lives of saints, even local legends.
And such a powerful way to teach religious lessons, especially to those who couldn't read.
Exactly. A medieval form of visual communication, accessible to all. And what's interesting is they also reflect the political and social dynamics of the time.
We talked about those transept windows being a battleground between Blanche and Pierre. Any other windows that reveal these power struggles?
Well, for example, the windows dedicated to Charlemagne and St. James in the Apse, renowned for their beauty, of course, but Adams points out they were commissioned by Blanche and Pierre, respectively.
So even in their rivalry, they were contributing to Mary's glory. It's a constant game of one-upmanship.
It really is, this fascinating interplay of ambition and devotion. You see it all over the cathedral, these subtle hints of rivalry, all vying for Mary's favor.
You know, I've always wondered about those upper windows in the choir. I've been to Chartres, and even with binoculars, it's hard to see them clearly.
Yeah, those upper windows, notoriously difficult to see, even for experts. But Adams, being Adams, he did his research. He describes their sequence, their symbolism, how they continue this theme of territoriality, allegiance, even in those hard-to-reach spaces.
Wow. So even way up high in the cathedral, the power plays continue.
It's a reminder that Chartres was not just a religious sanctuary, but a reflection of the complex political landscape of its time.
Mary is a queen. Powerful nobles vying for her favor. Tales of miracles, redemption. It's like a medieval soap opera with divine intervention.
It's a stunning tapestry of history, art, and human drama, and Adams weaves it all together masterfully.
Starting to understand why he was such a popular historian.
He makes you feel like you're right there, experiencing the wonder, the drama firsthand.
Like a time machine made of words. Speaking of time machines, let's shift gears and explore how Chartres reflects the intellectual climate of the Middle Ages. Adams digs into those philosophical debates, the tension between reason and faith. He mentions Peter Abelard, this sharp-witted philosopher challenging traditional doctrines.
Oh, Abelard definitely had a flair for the dramatic. His ideas eventually led to his condemnation by the church.
A reminder that intellectual freedom wasn't always welcomed, even back then.
Right. And then you have figures like Saint Bernard of Clairvaux, champion of faith's supremacy.
So Bernard believed trying to understand God through reason was pointless.
Exactly. He argued that faith was a divine gift, not something you could achieve through logic.
So where does Chartres fit in?
That's the fascinating part. Adams suggests the cathedral itself embodies Bernard's vision, the soaring heights, that ethereal light. It evokes this feeling of faith, transcendence, something beyond reason.
Like the building is saying, forget your minds, feel it in your heart and soul.
A powerful message. It still resonates today, and Chartres, with its beauty and grandeur, becomes a testament to the power of faith, to inspire. to uplift the human spirit.
Wow, it's amazing. Exploring Chartres really gets you thinking about those big questions: faith, reason, the human experience, all that stuff.
It really shows the power of art and architecture to transcend time, connect with us on this deep level. And Adams actually points out another layer to Chartres, how it reflects the role of women in medieval society, which is fascinating.
Yeah, we've talked about Mary as the Queen of Chartres, but you're right, there's this whole other dimension to the feminine influence at Chartres.
Exactly. Adams digs into courtly love, that code of conduct between men and women in the noble courts. And in that system, women actually held a good deal of power.
It's like those chivalric romances, knights dedicating their bravest deeds to their lady loves.
Exactly. And Adams suggests that this ideal of feminine power, you see it in figures like Eleanor of Aquitaine. And it influenced religious devotion too, especially with Mary.
So it's the same ideals, inspiring knights to be brave and people to be devoted to Mary.
In a way, yes. It's like Mary became the ultimate symbol of feminine power and grace, a figure who could command respect, adoration, even from the most powerful men.
I see. So Chartres, with its focus on Mary as queen, it becomes a reflection of this changing view of women.
Precisely. It's a tangible example of how these social and cultural trends, they found their way into the art and architecture. And it's not just Mary. Adams points out how other female figures, saints, literary characters, they all shaped the medieval worldview.
He talks about those miracle stories again, but this time focusing on how they depict Mary as this advocate for those suffering.
Yes. In these stories, Mary is a champion of the underdog. She intercedes for the poor, the sick, the wrongly accused. It shows a very human side to this divine figure.
Someone you could turn to, even when you felt like you had nowhere else to go. No wonder these stories resonated with people back then.
And they spread through songs, poems, the stained glass windows, of course. It reminds us that Chartres was more than a building. It was a living center of storytelling, where people shaped their beliefs, found hope and comfort.
Adams even says Chartres was like a grand court, with Mary presiding, surrounded by her loyal subjects, both human and divine. Such a vivid image.
It is. Makes you think about the power of these places. To inspire awe, create a sense of community. It challenges us to see the medieval world, that unique blend of faith, reason, reverence for the feminine, all of it.
We've been on this incredible journey, exploring not just a building, but a whole way of seeing the world.
It's true. And like any good journey, it leaves us with more questions than answers, inspiring us to keep exploring.
You're right. I'm walking away from this with a new appreciation for Chartres, for the Middle Ages, and that enduring power of human creativity and imagination.
That's the beauty of exploring history. It pushes us to think differently, to appreciate the richness and complexity of the human story.
So if you ever find yourself wandering through Chartres, or any other historical site really, remember to think about the stories they hold. Look beyond the surface. Imagine the lives, the beliefs of those who came before. You might even discover something about yourself. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Chartres Cathedral. We'll be back soon with another fascinating story. Until then, keep exploring.